Well, Mami, good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, Charlie. Great
I
time. Great time
I
I spent
reflected a bit
yesterday.
yesterday, and I thought I'll ask the first question I want to ask my viewers, and please respond via WhatsApp. What did you spend your time reflecting on yesterday? Because it was Constitution Day yesterday. So, what about the Constitution did you think about? Seriously, yeah. Let me know. So I was
What
just
a great,
driving around thinking.
what a great question to
I was
ask.
thinking, did anybody think about the
Yeah.
Constitution? You know?
Mm.
Yeah. But you said you
Eh,
had a great time yesterday. Where did you go?
I went to Ada.
Oh, you did?
Yes. You know,
Oh.
I didn't have a good Christmas.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Then that's good.
And I met a good friend who lives at Adisado College campus and also works as a nurse at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital.
You met him in Cape Coast or Ada?
I met her, Susanna Mensah, also called Irama. And have a great time this morning, Susanna. I'll catch up with you. Okay.
Roland, this is 2020, you know?
I've started so well. I'm even happy.
You should change. You know, things are new.
Yeah, because you know when you were away to those triangular visits, you know, to Dubai,
Okay, don't mention
Singapore,
that.
Malaysia, I had some great interactions with Salifu Combat of Boku as well. And it was
Shall
good.
we do the
And you know
newspapers
Salifu
now? Time for us
Salifu,
to
good morning.
dig into the newspapers. I'll do the Daily Graphic, the Finder, and the Daily Statesman. Roland's got the Daily Guide, the Ghanaian Times newspaper. We'll certainly do my joyonline.com as well. So the Daily Graphic, front page of the graphic, new Chief Justice takes office, but it's the picture on the front page of the paper that speaks volume. It's got the immediate Chief Justice, that's the former Chief Justice, and another Chief Justice, Georgina Theodora Wood, one that, you know,
But
we absolutely still miss.
you know what? When I looked at this picture, I said this is symbolic of our Fourth Republic, because before the Fourth Republic, we didn't have in succession living. Let's say former heads.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Yes.
And this it means
Yeah.
that the transitions and onwardly upholding the institutions and respecting the individuals who were appointed to those institutions was always important to our national fabric.
Absolutely.
And I love this picture.
So two former Chief Justices, then the Attorney General, also in the picture, the Vice President and the President. It was the swearing-in ceremony. Justice Kwesi Eneni Yeboah, the new Chief Justice. And yeah.
I think the next time we have a picture like that, we should have even the former presidents and even former speakers of just representing the three organs of government that we have. I mean, I'm sure someday we'll have that type of unison.
Okay. All right, so uphold tolerance, national unity, NCC urges Ghanaians on Constitution Day. We support new voters register 2 parties, former presidential candidates saying that. That's sorry on page 13. But President Akufo-Addo yesterday swore Mr. Justice Kwesi Eneni Yeboah as the 14th Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana at an elaborate and impressive ceremony at the Jubilee House. The President administered the oath of allegiance, the judicial oath, and the oath of secrecy to Justice Eneni Yeboah and presented him with the instrument of appointment before the invited guests, who included former presidents, well, Jerry John Rawlings and John Ajikun Kufuor were there as well. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the 2 former female Chief Justices, Justice Georgina Wood and Justice Sophia Kufuor, former First Lady Nana Konadu Rawlings, members of the Council of State, heads of all the security agencies. Well, lots of people at the event yesterday. So this is the NCCE, the National Commission for Civic Education, saying as the country goes to the polls this year, Ghanaians should uphold the spirit of tolerance, national unity, peace, cohesion, and patriotism as guiding values for national development. In the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper, government urged to invest in oil palm promotion. Geba bemoans moves to restrict free-to-air TV. Ghana to host 4th conference on trade and finance. But a bit about Geba, it says the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association has expressed strong reservations about the new standards on digital terrestrial television and direct-to-home published on the website of the National Communications Authority. According to Giba, the document published by the NCA had a new chapter, number 13, which contained conditional access and middleware applications and additional control features as minimum mandatory requirements, contradicting the original standards published by the Ghana Standards Authority, which is the statutory body mandated to do so. I guess in ordinary terms, if there's another document that does not reflect what's been initially published by the Standards Authority, then this second one would be, how do they say it, null and void?
Well, it's also because there's been foremost knowledge of what the whole concept was supposed to be. And I guess the main concern now is why you have an intermediary, and that intermediary is the one that's supposed to do updates of software. It could also mean access to some key data and information belonging to the country Ghana, because of the players involved, etc.
In the Ghanaian Times, you would see that there's another angle which says it's going to be difficult for ordinary persons to also access free to air. Well,
yeah, because you're supposed to have a decoder, and so if you don't have that decoder, it means that a grandmother or an old lady in a village somewhere who just wants to watch TV may not be able to watch. But it could also be possible that government could subsidize and pay for that. So
I see that there's a statement also in this is the Daily Guide. So Roland will get to it also from Giba. But let's finish off with the graphic, back page of the graphic. Fire displaces hundreds in Achimota slum. An inferno has displayed hundreds of people in slums along the Achimota railway lines behind the old station on the border with Abofu. The fire gutted the slum yesterday morning, destroying property and displacing many of the slum dwellers whose abodes were consumed by the fire. So beyond the makeshift homes that got burnt, vehicles that were parked close to the area were also affected by the raging fire. Although the source of the fire is not yet known, eyewitnesses said it started from a kiosk converted into a residential property. Just down on the back page of the paper, police arrest driver over death of girlfriend. The police in Kumasi have arrested a 42-year-old driver with the Bank of Ghana for allegedly killing his 46-year-old girlfriend in the hotel in Kumasi. Edwin Ewuku allegedly shot and killed Miss Comfort Usrefiye, alias Mameya, ran to his house at Amekom to hide the gun and returned to the hotel with the wife to allege that armed robbers had attacked them and killed Mameya. Let's do the finder. Giba raises red flag, accuses Communications Ministry of sneaking encryption into free-to-air broadcast infrastructure. Protects the integrity of the judiciary. President charges new CJ. Auditor General must compel over 40,000 public officers to declare assets. A call by Occupy Ghana. GCB Bank invested 370 million Ghana cedis in agric and cocoa sectors. The front page headlines that find the newspaper. I'll finish up the daily statement. Front page, Zongo Ministry brings new lavatories to Accra. Guard the independence of our judges. President urges new Chief Justice. Akufo-Addo praises Ghanaians for making your return a success. By way of front page headlines and on the, some pictures really of the swearing in of Chief Justice Enin Yeboah on the back page of the paper. You might want to take a look. Roland?
Okay, so we do have the Ghanaian Times. Let me just quickly run by you what the front page stories are. Be fair, uphold rule of law. President charges new Chief Justice. Has an attached picture of the Chief Justice, Justice Enin Yeboah. U.S.-Iran tensions. World leaders must call for calm. Vladimir Chidanso. And the latest incidents just reported late yesterday, our time, but also very fresh. 2 air bases of the U.S. have been bombed by missiles straight from Iran itself in Iraq. And then a Ukrainian airline plane that just took off from the Iranian National Airport just also caught fire, crash landed. Nobody knows whether it's related to the incident. So far, Trump has also given his latest tweets where we get the best information in relation to the U.S. government, that all is well so far in relation to that. Okay, now we also have on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, ambulances to be commissioned on January 28th, the health minister says. On the back page, workers bemoan state of railway sector. On the side, though, still on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, NCC urges tolerance as nation goes to the polls this year. We need this. Already, attention seems to be growing gradually. We'll get there, like Pito. Let's go to the Daily Guide. The Daily Guide has on the front page, Enin Yeboah's new CJ, Chief Justice. Otumfuo grabs Peace Award, also on the front page. And there's an inserted picture of Otumfuo Seitu II with Lady Julia Oseitu. Giba fights Communication Ministry. And NDC sued over primaries, we're told. On the back page, don't drop the standard, UG Sports Director cautions. Another story is also occupying the back page of the Daily Guide. Occupying the center spread today is the full statement from the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association. Is there? Center spread. So, and there's some interesting highlights. It says a document published on 30th of December 2019 by the National Communication Authority on its website as a technical standard requires the broadcast industry in Ghana and all Ghanaian households to abide by its mandatory requirement for the reception of all TV programs. That is, before you can watch any TV program. It's also indicating that there will be the need to acquire a special decoder with a proprietary software, and it's been given to a company called Verimatrix, solely selected by the Ministry of Communications as their partner, and by default it will mean that the company will also have been awarded the business of running broadcasting value-added services and shall perpetually provide updates to all the platform, because by virtue of the proprietary software introduced, no other entity can perform updates to the platform. Now, Giba is saying this raises serious issues of unfair competition, which ultimately will be addressed later in this release. They also have given the mandate to trade in broadcast services to this company without authorization by the NCA as is required. Now, it is worth noting that several entities have had to go through a vigorous qualification process to receive broadcast authorization to provide some of the very broadcast services which the MOC, as the Ministry of Communication, is freely and discriminately, according to this statement, given out to its broadcast partners. Now, among all the several businesses handed over to the software partners, that will be Verimatrix by the MOC, are on-screen banner advertising. So, for example, if you're watching this station, for example, banner advertising could be placed on, and straight away will be coming from the entity Verimatrix.
How is this fair?
Push video on demand and portable video recording on the decoders as well. And then they can connect other services as well. There will be interactive broadcast services with a conditional access system, etc., etc. Now, they said this is akin to setting up of a subscription-based television broadcast facility with state funds for the benefit of private enterprise. Yeah, and they give all the background details. I mean,
you know, it's interesting, right? Sometimes when we are signing, you know, these contracts and we give people all these benefits and access, yes, it's as if like we're turning our backs onto ourselves, like we're not here. You get what I mean? Like you're given such a good, sweet deal to someone at the disadvantage of whatever. But is this what is this standard practice? Is this worldwide standard practice?
I do know that there are countries, especially in the Middle Eastern countries, and then even Northern Africa, who started having satellite broadcasting way decades earlier, before we even had the intention. And this one is also being driven by the UN, because they want everybody to have a certain uniform standard. That decoders were needed. Ultimately, also, these were embedded in the television sets. Now, I don't know whether, because you will need a decoder, and the decoder is going to be manufactured here, or is going to be manufactured for our system, what will happen to the embedded decoders that we do have in the televisions that are being sold on the market?
They will be useless.
Yeah. And also, we need to look at what is fair competition and what is fair to the ordinary Ghanaian. Are we doing things?
And these are Ghanaian businesses, also, remember.
Yeah,
because
for example, multimedia.
First, people are doing,
multimedia.
So what is Ghana First?
Yes.
In this deal?
Exactly.
You know, in this whole...
And the standard is that for local players, you have to go through the rigorous processes of getting the authorization from the NCA. But it looks like this one, we're giving it sweetly to a third party, to the disadvantage of local players.
Where is Ghana First? Where is Ghana Beyond Aid in this latest deal? I think we will definitely be interrogating this.
I would have loved it if we had a Ghanaian entity doing this, and then they can jointly do these with the players that we have in the industry, so that it benefits Ghana ultimately. This one is swift capital flight, and I don't know.
Yeah. All right. What we do know, though, is that we have myjoyonline.com. We'll go to myjoyonline in a bit, but there's an interesting twist to this whole voters register. There are some political parties who are in favor of a new voters register. It's in page 13, the daily graphic, whilst we get ready to do myjoyonline.com. It says the Progressive People's Party and the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG, and the former independent presidential candidate Jacob Osei-Yeboah have backed the decision by the Electoral Commission to compile a new voters register. The PPP said the EC could not be denied the appropriate tools it genuinely needed to do a credible job, while the LPG said peace was priceless, hence the need for Ghanaians to rally behind the EC to compile a new biometric voters register. All right, so you can read on. We know the NDC and some other political parties, there's 5 of them who are opposed to this. So, you know, it's a democracy, isn't it? Let's do myjoyonline.com. Let's see what's trending on our page today. Okay, so Sadio Mane named CAF African Player of the Year. The Senegal forward beat teammates and Egypt forward Mohamed Salah, also Manchester City's Algerian Wenger, to the award. That's Liverpool's Sadio Mane has been named the Confederation of African Football's Player of the Year. I guess it was expected, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, he absolutely deserves it.
And before him, we'd had Mo Salah winning it consecutively for 2 years, which he deserved also.
Yeah.
But this time he did.
Japan tops 2020 list of world's most powerful passports. What's a travel document that opens more doors around the world? Dan, can I finish that statement? Than any other. Okay, it's a Japanese passport, is it? Oh, it opens more doors. Okay.
It's a safe passport then.
All right, cars over 40 kiosks and bar burns to ashes at Achimota. Full text Mohammed's New Year message to Ghanaians. You can catch up listening to it. I thought it was like a presidential address. Sounded like it. All right, Akufo-Addo prepared to address infrastructural challenges facing judiciary. Pastor stabs his wife in church, then kills himself on pulpit. Very bizarre, like it's really unbelievable story. You can read on my journal.
Very bizarre.
But there's a Kenyan pastor. He stabbed his wife during a church service and then slit his throat in another suicide witnessed by the shocked congregation, local police told CNN on Monday. Shocking.
Very shocking.
Non-performing loans hit, this was there yesterday, 7.2 billion. Ghana cedis in October 2019, I said Roland's loan is part of this figure.
No, it's not. I've been risk averse in taking loans for a long time.
Can I just take a loan and then,
it's the interest rate that tends to beat the mind. Yeah.
Okay, no.
The interest rates have not come
like
down, no. Even though the base rates from the Bank of Ghana have always been.
All right, that's an opinion, Constitution Day celebration. Well, yesterday I urged that you read it if you didn't. Yeah. Please, the story is still there. Let's do the BBC. One of the biggest world stories, really, and it's even becoming local now.
Yeah, it is local.
In different countries. Iran targets U.S. troops with missile strikes, and this is a retaliation, actually in response to what the U.S. had done. So Iran has carried out a ballistic missile attack on air bases housing U.S. forces in Iraq in retaliation for the U.S. killing of that Iranian general. More than a dozen missiles launched from Iran struck 2 air bases in Erbil and Al-Assad, west of Baghdad. And then it is unclear if there have been any casualties, because the U.S. president actually tweeted and said all was well, and that casualties and damage were being assessed. And
meanwhile,
176 people killed when jetliner crashes in Iran, and it's been said that, well, they don't know yet if this has anything to do with
but it took off from
US
the Iranian airport.
Iran issue, all passengers and crew aboard the Ukraine International Airlines Boeing 737 plane that crashed after takeoff in Tehran have died, and that's according to Iranian state TV reports.
Yeah.
And if this is not just an accident and it was deliberate, then this will spark a whole new controversy.
But already the Iranian armed forces says that if the U.S. retaliates following the bombing of his of
General?
2 U.S. bases in Iraq, then this is the wedding. We will be stronger and more crashing. That's the response from Iran. But it's also giving some highlights on the commodities market, because we've had prices of oil just in the last 24 hours increased by some 4%. It has implications. Initially, nothing was feared for small countries like ours, but now 4% jump. Even gold prices have gone up a little.
Well, which is a bit surprising, because we know that Iran, there's been sanctions in the past on Iran, and we haven't felt it. Also because in terms of oil, there's Saudi Arabia, and that's very much stable.
And Kuwait.
So
Qatar,
we're not
Oman.
Yeah. But here's a tweet by the Iranian foreign minister. He says, and this is a tweet that I'm reading, I'm picking this from the BBC, Iran took and concluded proportionate measures in self-defense under Article 51 of the UN Charter, targeting base from which cowardly armed attack against our citizens and senior officials were launched. We do not seek escalation or war, but will defend ourselves against any aggression.
Yeah, and then also this morning I retweeted a Donald Trump tweet. I'm a big fan of him. And he says, all is well. Missiles launched from Iran at 2 military bases located in Iraq. Assessment of casualties and damages taking place now. So far, so good. We have the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far.
So, the interpretation to it is that his tweet says all is well, right? Which means they're not intending on, because people are kind of reading.
Having any reprisal
attacks. This tweet that I read from the Foreign Affairs Minister, which says, Iran took and concluded proportionate, which also means that they don't intend. So is this the end of it? We do not know, but it's certainly not the end of sports. Benedict is here. Do you care about what is happening in Iran?